Our way, this is where we are. Oh, you lift your rusty brow, little thoughts have weighed your vision down. We move slowly, we can shape but can't control these possibilities to grow. We's amongst the push and pull, waiting on the wind to take us. We can write with ink and pen, but we'll sow with seeds instead. Starting with words we said, we will all be changed. But don't forget to love. We can shape but can't control these possibilities to grow. Weeds amongst the push and pull, waiting on the wind to take us. We can write with ink and pen, but we will sow with seeds instead. Starting with words we said, and we will all be changed. Oh.
Good morning. I'm reading from Luke 12:49 to 56, one of many messages by Jesus about change. I came to bring fire to the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what stress I am under until it is completed. Do you think that I come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, 5 in one household will be divided. 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided. Father against son, son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother. Mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you immediately say, it's going to rain, and so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time?
What's impossible with before God? This world keeps spinning, and with each new day I can feel it changing everything. And as the surface break, reflections fade, but in some ways they remain the same. And as my mind begins to spread its wings, there's no stopping curiosity. I want to turn the whole thing upside down. I find the things they say that just can't be found. I share the stuff I find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. I don't want this feeling to go away. Who's to say I can't do everything well I can try? And as I roll along, I begin to find things aren't always what they seem to be. I want to turn the whole thing upside down. I find the things they say that just can't be found. I share this love I find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. This world keeps spinning and there's no time to waste with it all. It keeps spinning, spinning around and round, and it's upside down. Who's to say what's impossible and it can't be found? I don't want this feeling to go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Is this how it's supposed to be? Is this how it's supposed to be?
You guys do a lot better when you know the song. Sorry. Sorry I threw that at you guys this morning. And, guys, they were great troopers, weren't they, with that whole thing? Yeah. No, we need more than that because they won't come back next week, I'm afraid. No, I'm just kidding. So that last song about I want to turn the world upside down seems to me to be pretty much kind of what I hear Jesus saying in this passage. When Jesus says, I didn't come to bring peace, but fire. Fire is kind of an ancient symbol of transformation. And, maybe that's a part of the reason why on most altars, there's usually some form of it. Fire transforms things. It transforms water into steam. It transforms wood into ash. Transforms a lot of people into ash, too. The idea in Jesus talking about bringing fire to the earth is really, I believe, about transforming humankind, transforming our way of thinking, transforming how we are. But transformation at the level of fire is like you burn it down and it's something entirely different. If you think about, a little bit of fire is not going to change a lot. If you have a little fire on the altar, you can kind of wave your hand over it, it's not going to really make much happen. You get close to the fire, or you get more fire, and things really change. And I wonder if for most of us, our experience of faith, of spirituality, our experience even of the self-help books, and our attempts at transformative kind of processes on our own, Tony Robbins seminars, self-help tapes, if in some ways a lot of what we end up doing isn't kind of standing near the fire of transformation, but not allowing ourselves to get close enough that what we have become really used to, committed to, habituated to, might actually change. You don't experience change from getting a new idea. Being here on a Sunday morning and hearing somebody talk and hearing a song about change is probably not going to be significant enough for the kind of transformation that I think Jesus was talking about. The kind of transformation that is healing, integrating, transformative in a way that moves us out beyond ourselves into sharing with other people. The kind of transformation that I think Jesus was talking about requires something pretty radical. Pretty radical. The work that I have done and some of the study that I have been doing on human consciousness and reading the works of people like Alfred Korzybski and Samuel Bois and Sylvan Tompkins and people who have for 50 years, 60 years before our current time were working on trying to get a sense of how do human beings operate? And I shared a little bit last week about some thoughts that really come from Samuel Bois' work and understanding the self as kind of being multidimensional, kind of a first level of self that's really about the body and being like a child, like an infant, where most of what I experience has no words or labels or names. I have what I feel, and that feeling directs my attention and brings expression to my face and flavors my attention. I have what's happening in my body, but I don't have a lot of understanding about it. There's that level of ourselves. And then we grow another layer to ourselves that's really much more about images that we carry around. I no longer just have this thing that I look at and go, wow, look at that. I now have a name for it, hand. And I can hide it over here, and I can still think of it, a hand. What a concept. images are the level of self that we walk around with most of the time, talking to each other. And then maybe we develop a third self, kind of a higher level of self that, isn't all just caught up in the images, but that can notice when we're really kind of stuck in thinking one particular way, or look at how our feelings on that first level are interacting with the images that we picked up on the second level. This transformation of consciousness, this evolution of consciousness that I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks, I believe has something to do with the recognition, which would be kind of this third self, the recognition that the images that we have become attached to in our second self, the stuff that kind of keeps everything stable and tells me this hand is still going to be here in a few minutes. The stuff that tells me exactly how to act when I come into a room like this, all the images that I have of what people are and who I am and what it means when we get together, all of those are little images that are full of expectations. But what if these images and expectations and the way of stabilizing the world that these images bring for us, what if they got all stabilized in a way that really robbed us of wholeness? The world is always changing, like an ocean that's continually moving. And so is that primary part of me that's almost like an infant, feeling whatever's happening in the moment and responding to it. But I have developed this layer of image that allows me to stabilize everything and know what to expect, know what to think, know who I am, that self-image. But when I carry those images around and don't question them, they become this island of static, of a world that just resists transformation. Now I can talk about and think about, maybe I should change something in my life. Most of the time, however, when I'm doing that, I'm merely kind of reinterpreting my same images into some new place. There's no real transformation. So think about this question for a minute. How do you know what's normal? What is normal? What's normal for human beings? What does a normal human being do? What does a normal human being think? The whole question of being normal has kind of been a part of these images that we carry around. From the time you were little, you started learning, didn't you? How to fit in, how to act normal. Unless you're a musician. And then you actually make more money if you don't act normal. Artists, are always those people out on the edge of the culture who are challenging our sense of normal, inviting us to consider that possibly the static image that we have of what it means to be us is limiting. It's even maybe deadening, like a certain kind of anesthesia that is for the masses. We all were indoctrinated into that sense of normalcy, haven't we? And you might discover, if you think back across the last few weeks or months, if you were to think about when were the times in the last months or weeks or years where you remember seeing somebody do something that just wasn't normal? And think about your attitude when you thought about that, like, Lady Gaga or Prince or, I don't know, Elizabeth's pretty normal. I'm thinking, I was looking for help. You guys are not helping me today. Okay, so some artist, some poet, somebody pushing the bounds of what we totally think of as normal. How do you feel when that happens? You know, in Joseph Campbell's work, he talks a fair amount about, this kind of character in all mythology and the fool. The fool is the one in mythology who's always kind of showing us how our normal stuff is kind of crazy. And then you have the jester, or the what's the term in trickster in some native tribes. You think of the trickster as the one who kind of goes in and sows disunion among people, trying to just help them notice that the stuff that they're clinging to and the stuff they're committed to and the stuff that they think is so important isn't really as important as they think it might be. I think of that when I read these words in the scripture that we read today, where Jesus talks about 2 being divided against 3 and brother against brother. There is this thing about transformation that will push you to be in a place that you sometimes, don't fit in like you used to. Or you feel a little bit like you're not, able to just kind of be in that same place. Where you experience your own edge of living out of your own authentic feelings versus feeling the kind of squelching experience of all the scripts and all the messages for what you're supposed to be. I think maybe a part of the gospel is about inviting you to experience your life in a lot more freedom. The freedom of living from the inside out. In other words, what if that first self that you had when you were a child, that didn't have a label for anything, that didn't even have an image for yourself, what if that part of you is the key to your own transformation? In other words, that turning away from our over-dependency on all these images that we use all the time to talk to each other and give ourselves expectations and create something that feels really stable. What if getting in touch with the immediate experience of the flow of your own body and emotion in the here and now, in the present? Now, when I say to you, tune into your body, tune into that part of you that is not labeling everything, it isn't thinking in all these abstractions, tune into the present moment, I would bet you that 90% of us have a difficulty with that. Right? I mean, have any of you tried to meditate and you find yourself trying to get still, tune into your breathing, and what happens? It's like, somebody please turn on the windshield wipers. Get all these thoughts out of my brain. But what if mindfulness, which is being found to actually be one of the great treatments for a lot of mental illness like yours and mine, what if mindfulness is really about moving from being stuck in our images to tuning back into what we are authentically feeling? Sometimes people come into my counseling office and they'll say, I'm really mad, or I'm really upset, or I'm really scared. And as we talk about it, I get a sense that they think they are. That intellectually they know they should be. But when you ask them to tune into their body, oftentimes that's not what they're feeling at all. They're actually feeling something really different. Sometimes these images that we walk around with about our expectations of who we are and what we're supposed to be actually cloud the experience of our authentic selves. So if we were to consider just for a moment today that one of the best things that we could do, both to live out something about what Jesus was inviting us to in the Gospels in terms of fire, transformative fire coming to the earth, because when we tune into what's actually happening for us and begin to develop an ability to not have to be attached to our images, things really can change, and rapidly, like fire. But also to be a part of the movement of spirit here and now in our times. What's most needed in our world today? Maybe what God is moving through us to help create is a shift of consciousness that's about having to let go of a lot of the stuck way of being that we learned to be. What if the movement right now of spirit in this time is about a transformative consciousness that's much more about art and living art than the kind of static security of the images that we've carried? You know, when Joseph Campbell was asked by Bill Moyer, so, what's the difference between a shaman and a priest? He said, well, shamans were the people who were bringing the fire down from the mountain like Moses, who were having this powerful encounter, and then they would bring it down and give it to the people. Priests, traditionally, were people who carried on the ritual observances of a culture, of a religion. And so Bill Moyer then asked Joseph Campbell, he said, so who are the shamans in our time? He said, the artists and the poets. Matthew Fox once said, Christianity, if it can't recover its sense of the mystical, needs to close down and go out of business. If it can't reattach itself to that experience of bringing the fire down from the mountain, it needs to close down and go out of business. Because either you are a part of bringing forth what is within you, as it says in the Gospel of, according to Thomas, or you're not. Actually, what it says in the Gospel of Thomas is, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you don't bring forth what is within you, what you don't bring forth will destroy you. In other words, I think what that means is, if you want this transformative experience that Jesus is talking about, you've got to actually allow this to come from inside of you. It's got to be birthed in you. Or as Meister Eckhart said, it doesn't matter to me whether Mary gave birth to the Christ in her time or in her life if I don't give birth to the Christ in my life in my time. So, what does that mean for you and I today, practically? Could it be beginning to develop more of this sense of mindfulness? I want to invite you to just close your eyes and take a deep breath for a moment. And as you tune in to your breathing, maybe let this be a moment of just quieting that kind of chattering monkey mind that we often find ourselves having a hard time releasing. What if there was a simple way to expand your consciousness that would put you in a place of being able to be more a part of the answer to the struggles today? And what if it simply meant that you learned to be able to question all the answers that you usually feel so sure about? even the answers to the questions like, who are you? And what are you supposed to do? And what's normal? And to be able to tune into what's going on inside of you, just to notice feelings in your own body without labeling them. Because once we've labeled them, we're in the world of images. So what would it be like to just have the capacity at any moment to pause in the middle of a place where you thought you knew what you were doing and you thought you knew what everybody else was supposed to do, and to listen like it was all brand new. As they say, make it strange. And to honestly just notice what you're really feeling. They say that faith is not about having all the answers. It's about walking to the edge of all the light you have and taking one more step. It takes a lot of courage to risk being more of who you naturally feel yourself to be. But as Jesus once said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Holy One, that we might be free and that we might discover that beyond all the expectations and even the self-image that we've carried sometimes for so long, we are much more than we ever imagined. You've created us in amazing, wondrous ways. Thanks.
So I invite you all to stand and sing with us, Let the River Run. And it's our offering song as well. So as we're singing it, if you have an offering, bring it forward to the table as we sing it.
Stand on the star and raise
So just a reminder after the service, if there's something that we can support you over, we have a team of folks that are here to pray with you or just minister to you. If there's anything that's going on in your life that you just want to maybe have some extra support, they'll be back in this corner, back over here. Want to recognize we all, I think, are in this process of change, and I know there are a number of people in the congregation today who have either recently lost a loved one, a mother buried yesterday, a brother who just was discovered to be ill and with cancer and not long to live. I know there are others in the room too who are, have struggles with health. I want us to just kind of all hold all of that together in prayer for a moment, and maybe take each other's hands. So, Holy One, we are all in the process of change. We're all in this journey, and as my friend Chuck Shanlever quoted somebody the other day, none of us gets out alive. Oh yeah, it was that. Never mind. So, Holy One, we just recognize we're all in this journey. How do we celebrate the losses of those who we love? Maybe by carrying them on in our hearts, knowing that somehow there's bits of us that continue to be connected. Journeys are all temporary. Here we go. Help us to tune into the moment that we could be fully present and discover how to live more fully, more authentically with each other. Bless all those who grieve or live with concerns today. Help us to surround them with love and care. It's our prayer. Amen.
vision down. We move slowly, sun in time. We can shape but can't control these possibilities to grow. Peace amongst the push and pull, waiting on the wind to take us. We can write with ink and pen, but we will sow with seeds instead. Starting with words we said, we will all be changed. Don't tarry on like it's always gonna be. Oh, child, this expectation, but don't forget to love. Oh, we can shape but can't control these possibilities to grow. Weeds amongst the push and pull, waiting on the wind to take us. We can write with ink and pen, but we will sow with seeds instead. starting with words we said, we will all be changed.